Hi guys, and welcome back to another Video Game with Powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video we are going to be continuing our top 100 favorite games in our collection. We have made it into the top 20, guys, so today's video specifically we are going to take a look at my 20th to 11th favorite game in our collection, moving into that top 20. Now, as always, guys, I have used the Pub Meeple ranking engine. If you guys are not familiar with that, check the link in the description down below. It is a ranking engine that you can pair your BGG account with in order to compare one game right next to the other. After a while, it's going to produce a list, and this is the list we have used for all of our videos. Alrighty, guys, enough chitter chatter from me. Let's go ahead and dive right in, starting off with game number 20. Alrighty, game number 20 is a pleasant surprise. We have Charcuterie, the board game. This is a brand new game, and man, has this game skyrocketed into my top 20 here. Just the theme overall of Charcuterie, the board game, is this is a tile drafting game where you're going to be drafting groupings of these different food, an assortment of food tiles, and then you are going to have your own charcuterie board, and then you are going to be making different combinations to fulfill different scoring conditions here. This is a 2 to 6 player game, ages 14 plus, and right around 20 to 30 minutes per player. And man, like, I just love this game so much. Not only is it the theme very funny, but it's also a very approachable theme. I feel like this is a phenomenal entry-level game here for introducing this to a board game to people who are not familiar with board games. The mechanics of the game are so simple and sleek. It's literally on your turn, you're drafting a grouping of tiles. Once everybody has had the opportunity to put these tiles out onto the bag twice, then the game is over. And so even with more players, with 5 to 6 players in this game, the playtime of the game does not really change a whole lot compared with 2 players. At 2 players, this game plays really fast. Like 15 to 20 minutes is on par with that. But I just love the overall theming, the presentation of the game here, the ease of play. The mechanics are super cool yet strategic, trying to balance your charcuterie board and your plate with all of these different vegetables and meats and crackers and things like that. You're going to have some recipe cards for scoring objectives. I mean, overall, this has just been a very enjoyable game to play, and every time we get this to the table, we have a very enjoyable experience with it. But my 20th favorite game in our collection here, we have Charcuterie, the board game. Alrighty, moving on to number 19. I'm gonna have to zoom my camera out here. We have After the Empire, okay? After the Empire is a tower defense type of game where what you're going to be doing is throughout the course of a number of rounds, you're going to be doing some worker placement, right? Classic Euro worker placement tower defense type game where you're going to be placing your workers out here onto the board to be able to take certain actions. And the main premise of the game is you are going to be building your castle. And what's cool is there's actual pieces that you are going to be building on your board. And then what's going to happen is once this worker placement round is over, there's going to be called a siege round where essentially a siege is going to happen on your castle, and so you're going to need to use like your mercenaries, your soldiers, and you can build like turrets and stuff like that to defend from this siege. And if these sieges happen to break through your walls and get into your castle, you kind of get pillaged and robbed, and there's going to be a penalty that you are going to have to pay. After the Empires is a 90-minute game, ages 14 plus, around 2 to 4 players. I would say 90 minutes is very generous for a game like this. Probably going to be around closer to 2 hours. for a 2-player playthrough, and then if you're adding in a 3rd player, probably a little longer than that. But I enjoy the tower defense part of this game so much. The worker placement is very simple and rudimentary, but for me, it's that you have your own map, and then you actually build. They have stone and wood plastic pieces that you will slot in for your walls. You got turrets that you can build and things like that. You can hire mercenaries and soldiers to kind of defend your wall. So for me, it's that like aspect of building my own tower, building my own castle, and then defending this castle through worker placement and things like that. And the overall winner is going to be the person at the end of these 7 rounds that has the most gold left over, okay? But this is after the Empire. We do have the deluxe edition here, so we have the game mats and the little miniatures. In the retail edition of the game, I think instead of these miniatures, it just comes with little plastic cubes and stuff like that. But a enjoyable tower defense game from Gray Fox Games here after the Empire, my 19th favorite game in the collection. Alrighty, moving on to number 18. We have Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon. All right, Tainted Grail is a campaign game where you are taking on the role of, let me flip this over here for you guys. So it is a survival story narrative, right? Exploration game set in a dark universe of like Arthurian and Celtic legend. All right, and just a very good, sleek campaign game from Awakened Realms. Now, I've surprisingly have only played this solo because I just wanted to test it out. I ended up picking this game up for $50 at my local game store on sale. They were just trying to clear it out. But what I do really love of this is there is almost a ease of play to the game, right? You have stamina that you're going to spend. You use that stamina to take certain actions, and I love the combat where you, just like I said in After Us, you are trying to match these cards together to fill some of these certain boxes in order to do combat and diplomacy and different things like that. But it's a 1 to 4 player game, ages 14 plus. There are 15 chapters to this game. I do really enjoy that there is this quick save mechanic, and it's very easy to open up and get this game to the table. And I love how you are kind of building this map out as you go along. But I'm excited I really want to dive into Tainted Grail with another player and enjoy that experience for myself. And I found out, have a companion app with this game that I've tried solo, which I think makes it a really, really better. And I think that's why it's this high up on my list for me, is with that companion app, makes things a little bit more streamlined and easier to kind of maneuver and work through mechanically. But this is my 18th favorite game in our collection here, Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Guys, moving on to number 17, we have the Big Book of Madness. So the Big Book of Madness is a cooperative deck building game where you are taking on the role of a magical wizard, which each wizard is going to have its own specific element and power. And there's going to be this book of monsters here that you guys are trying to defeat their curses that they bring out into the world. And so everything here is done with elements. So each wizard is going to have a starting deck of elements, and then as you play the game, as you destroy these curses, or you have the opportunity to trade in your levels of elements to upgrade to a new level of elements. And so what I mean by that is, like, for example, you can see that there's a 3 water right here. So this is a level 3 water. You could trade in one level 2 and one level 1 in order to claim a level 3 water element. And then anytime you destroy a curse, you have the opportunity to gain a level of an element of your choice. All right, so that's kind of that deck building aspect of the game. When you destroy these curses, or you can trade in these elements to gain a higher element. You also have the ability to gain spells, so trading in some of these elements to learn new spells, and then using these elements to activate these spells here as well. But the overall premise is there's a big bad guy at the end of the book, and you are trying to just really defeat that final monster that's in the book in order to win the game. But this is just a really fun, simple deck building cooperative game, and I know like a lot of deck builders do have co-op in it, but it's almost like a separate mechanic per se, or sometimes it's almost in like an expansion. But this is one of the few games that we own that is specifically designed to be a cooperative deck building game. And so I love deck building games so much, and I love that this is also a cooperative game as well. And so we own the expansion to this as well, the Book of Madness, the Fifth Element, and we love playing with that expansion all the time. It adds a new element called Darkness, and man, it really brings the game up a whole nother level for us. But my 17th favorite game in our collection here, the Big Book of Madness. Alrighty, moving on to number 16, we have Millennium Blades. Alright, Millennium Blades is new to the collection. About a month ago, I was able to pick this bad boy up on a nice sale. This is a CCG simulator, a card game here, 2 to 5 players, around 2 hours per playthrough. You can shorten the game a little bit if you would like, but this game is that simulator trading card game, all right, where essentially what you are going to do is you are going to pick a starting deck of cards. You're going to have what's called this tournament phase, where you are going to be playing 6 cards down in a row, and these cards are going to score you different tournament points, right? And then what's going to happen at the end, once everybody's played their 6 cards, you're going to score, and you're going to have a tournament winner, and there's going to be some prizes and victory points gained. And then after that, what's going to happen is you are going to have this buy phase, or this market phase, where these you're going to have these cards that look like packs of cards. You're going to spend a certain amount of money, you're going to gain that card into your hand, and it's going to be either a new character, it's going to be accessories, it's going to be another deck box and things like that. And you're going to have a couple rounds of that, and they're going to be timed, and you're going to have the ability to then build a new deck. And by the end of, like, I think that happens twice or 3 times, I believe it's 3 times, 3 6-minute rounds. Then at the end of 18 minutes, you are going to have your new deck and deck box and accessories ready to go, because you're going to enter into another tournament phase. But there is a heavy deck construction aspect to it. I love all of the pop culture references and different things like this here, but as a TCG fan, right, you know, we guys are heavy into Disney Lorcana. I was heavy into Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was little. I feel like this game does such a good job of giving you that feel. All right, now, I do play the game a little differently. I had somebody show me how to play this game a little differently, which gives it more of that TCG feel, which is that normally you're going to have this giant deck of market cards, and then you're just taking cards from the deck. What I've done to kind of speed up the process and the setup of the game is there's 9 rows kind of in that market. I would just take a pack and put all the cards in a pack and shuffle them up in a row. And so it gives me and the players more of that TCG feel of like I can choose certain packs or decks that I want to try and build into, rather than just getting a random. Okay, so I feel like that gives you more thematically a better CCG feel to that. But this is my 16th favorite game in our collection here, Millennium Blades, the CCG simulator board game. All right, guys, taking a look at number 15, we have Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall here. Kinfire Chronicles is 1 to 4 players, ages 14 plus, 45 to 60 minutes, and Kinfire Chronicles is a campaign style game where you essentially are going to be taking on the role of one of these 6 different heroes traveling around Dinlux trying to figure out what is happening out there. There's something about a meteor, what I remember. But Kinfire Chronicles is a very quick, sleek campaign game. You know, it is in a big box, but I do love how the setup is very simple and quick to get to the table. The top of the box actually does serve as the game board, which is really awesome. And so like you would flip it over, you got your map board in the middle, you got time tracks and combat flow here, and then you got some cards as well. But I think for me, the big hit is you have this, the big hit is it's a story-driven game and a campaign game, but almost like a boss battler at the same time. So you're going to partake in these different quests. You're going to be reading some story-driven quest cards and things like that. And then what's going to happen is a boss is going to pop out, and you're going to jump right into battle and fight that boss, right? There's no like, I got to set up map tiles and I got to do this and I got to do that. It gives you a very nice story-driven experience, and you're going to read some cards, you might roll some dice, you might have some, well, there's no dice in the game actually. You're going to read some cards, you're going to make some decisions as a party, and what I really love is in making the decisions, you have two ways to play this game. You can play this game as yourself, or you can play this game as how your character would play it. And so it gives you that option when you're reading these story-driven cards, like, okay, if you are Mira, all right, then this is how Mira would respond in this situation. So do you want to respond that way, or do you want to respond how you want to respond? So that's a cool thematic way to play the game. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get to a boss and you will fight the boss. And I love the combat for me is great. The only real issue I have with the game is the way your turns work is you're going to be drawing chits from a bag, okay? And that is very randomized, which is cool, but also at the same time, there have been times where we have been playing this game, and the group that I've been playing with, there has been somebody who has not taken a turn and maybe like 8 to 10 turns, okay? So there is that possibility that there is one person at the table that's just watching the fight unfold the entire time, okay? So there can be some player interaction issues here and a lot of downtime with that, and I think that's kind of the only issue I have with this game and why it's not rated a little bit higher on the list for me. But everything else has got deck construction, deck building, the combat is smooth, sleek, and awesome. The player interaction with the cards and the combat itself with the other characters is phenomenal. But just a cool, easy to get to the table, quick to play campaign game, Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall, my 15th favorite game in the collection. Alrighty, moving on to number 14, we have Ark Nova. Ark Nova is the Build-A-Zoo game that has taken the board game community by storm a couple years ago. I don't know if it's really cooled off or not, but essentially in Ark Nova, you are building your own zoo. And so you are going to have these 5 action cards here, and depending on where they are in order, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to be able to take a certain actions. You might be able to take bonus actions and different things like that. And your premise is you are going to be using your money to buy these different enclosure tiles and then play cards from your hand to put these animals in enclosures. And there's going to be 2 different tracks, a reputation track and a conservation track. And so what you're trying to do is get both of these tracks to kind of meet in the middle and be as close as possible. But there's so much stuff to do in this game. You can partner. You can partner with partner zoos, you can work on conservation, different things like that. But just if you love building stuff on a map and you love the zoo and animals, then you are going to love Ark Nova. Now, I will say Ark Nova is hard to get to the table because it is so long to play the game, okay? Now, I think what is ranks this game a little higher for me is we do have the play mat that was on Etsy from Rolling Mats. What they've done is they've created a mat where it basically removes this board from the game and it has this as well. So it really saves on table space, which is huge for Ark Nova. But I think for me, that's why the game is a little bit higher on the list. We do have that rolling mat that really saves table space, makes everything a little bit more streamlined. But overall, I just enjoy Ark Nova a lot for the theme of being able to build my own zoo, but this game is very heavy and does take a long time when you play it, so that is kind of a detractor for me. You know, we don't want to sit down for 2 to 3 hours to build a zoo. I mean, you finish Ark Nova and you're like, man, I'm pretty exhausted. But this is my 14th favorite game in the collection, Ark Nova. Alrighty, moving on to number 13, we have Life of the Amazonia. Alright, Life of the Amazonia is a bag building game where you are trying to build out your own Amazonia. And so you are going to have these chips, okay, of different resources. You're going to be pulling them from a bag and then spending these different chips to buy more chips, right? You got gold chips, you have other resource chips like leaves and waters. You're going to be using those to buy more plots of, you have tiles of groupings of land masses and stuff like that. So you're building out this own Amazonia in front of you. You're going to use those resources to attract different animals into your land. You're going to get trees and different stuff like that, water flowers. And so the overall goal is to have the most lush and diverse Amazonia compared to everybody else. And so depending on how you've like built your Amazonia with the different animals that you attract into it, each animal is going to have its own unique scoring condition here. And so there's so many different ways to play the game. But this is a 1 to 4 player game, 14 plus, 60 to 150 minutes. I just really enjoy the bag building aspect of this game. This is one of the only games in our collection that is a bag builder. If not, this might be the only game in our collection that is a bag builder type game. Now, we do have the deluxe Kickstarter edition, so all of these little animal meeples and meeples are screen printed. We do have the deluxe wooden trees, and we do have the wooden chips as well. And I think that adds just a whole nother layer to the game. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the components here is part of the reason why this game is rated so high for me. I do feel with those chips, what I've noticed, and I'll talk about this in one of the other games that is coming up, in these bag builders, when you just have these small, thin plastic chips, it's very hard to mix all the chips up and pull one chip at a time. I think with the plastic chips, okay, they're easy to mix up in the bag, they're easy to pull out one at a time, and it's just a much better feel and experience with that. But really enjoy this. Again, I enjoy it a lot better than Ark Nova. It's kind of the same thing, right? Instead of building a zoo, I'm building my own Amazon and trying to figure that out. The playtime is just a lot shorter than Ark Nova, and there's a lot, the animals, you know, I got animeeples in there. I think the presence is actually a little bit better here with Life of the Amazonia, but this is my 13th favorite game in our collection. Alrighty, moving on to game number 12. Alright, you'll see a trend here with some of these games. I'm not going to mention the trend until the last one, but we have Lords of Ragnarok, all right? And I am not going to, I might be able to turn the game on the side, actually turn it over without anything getting messed up here, but Lords of Ragnarok is your typical dudes on a map type game. This is ages 14 plus, an hour and a half to 3 hours, 1 to 4 players. This is the spiritual successor to Lords of Hellas. And Lords of Ragnarok, it is a heavy Norse theme. You are taking on the role of a Norse god or goddess, all right? And what you are doing is, it is a area control type game. So you are going around this different board. You're going to be taking actions to put your troops out. You can also hunt monsters and claim monsters for yourself, or you can build temples and kind of pray to Odin, Thor, and Freya, I think is the other one here. What I enjoy about this game, look, it's Awakened Realms. Awakened Realms miniatures are top-notch and phenomenal. I do have the Sundrop edition of this game. The components here are outstanding. I love miniature games, so that's the start. What I also really enjoy about Lords of Ragnarok is that you can play it 2 players. Now the map does kind of get changed a little bit, but I do love that there are multiple ways to victory here. And this is what really gets this game to the table a lot more than I think it would if it was just area control, right? Me and my wife, Sierra really doesn't like this game a whole lot, but she will indulge my need to play this game. I don't even want to say need. She will indulge my wantingness to play this game because of those different scoring or the different winning conditions here. So you have 3 different winning conditions. The obvious one is area majority. Okay, the second one is you can hunt these monsters, and once you've defeated 2 monsters, you can hunt Loki the boss and kill him to win. Or you can build these temples in these lands, and if you have control of 6 lands with a temple in them, you are automatically the winner as well. And so it's this cool aspect where we can play this game 2-player and we don't have to do a lot of combat with each other. We can work on different objectives. And Sierra has won. I remember it was like the 3rd time we played this game. Sierra won in like a handful of turns because she killed both the monsters really quickly and then ended up getting lucky and killing Loki as well. And I was like, barely able to get stuff set up over here, but just a really fun dudes on the map type game. Now the game is really long to get to the table, but I think it's a enjoyable experience because there's a lot of things you can do, and the table presence here is just immaculate. But this is my 12th favorite game in the collection here, Lords of Ragnarok. Alrighty, last one of the video today, we have number 11. This is Unsettled, okay? Unsettled is a survival space exploration type game where, let me get the rulebook out here for you, where you are going to be taking on the role of a space exploration crew with your handy dandy robot Luna, and you are going to these different planets to kind of explore them and see what they offer. And so, you know, you're going to have some dice, which you're going to take taking these actions. Your dice is kind of like your energy and your stamina. You got some cubes, but I think as a whole, man, this game just offers a lot to you. What I love about this game is just the exploration, the inquisitiveness, the diversity and stuff like that. And so what's going to happen is each of these planets are going to have their own separate setup and playthrough and things like that. Now, I managed to gain one of the inserts on Etsy to fit all of the expansions into one box here, but you can kind of see how some of these planets work. So each planet is going to have its own setup, its own mechanics, its own challenges and things like that. And there's going to be different survival tasks that they call them. So there's 4 survival tasks that come with each planet here. And so like you can see with Nora, this is the very first planet. And it's going to have its own setup and whatnot like that. But I think the overall premise of the game is this is just like a scientific-y exploration type game where it just challenges you to, you're trying to survive and complete these missions, but there's a lot of freedom with what you want to do, and the game designers here really challenge you to just make choices and see what happens. You know, if you want to go explore, go explore. If you want to be conservative, go be conservative. And so there's a lot of freedom here with this game, but at the same time, it is very fun and engaging. There's a lot of player action with Unsettled here. So there you have something called trust between yourselves, and sometimes you can lose trust or gain trust, and that affects some of your own personal abilities and stuff like that. But just a very quality game. This is 1 to 4 players. I would say around ages 14 plus, maybe 15 plus, and right around 60 to 90 minutes, depending on your experience with the game. But this is coming to you from Orange Nebula Games. They did also Vindication, but This is one of the few space-themed games we have in our collection, or like space exploration games in our collection, and this is definitely my favorite. Whenever I'm in the mood to explore some space and some unknown planets, I bust out Unsettled. But that is my 11th favorite game in our collection here. Okay guys, we have made it through another 10 and we are winded all the way down getting ready for our top 10 favorite games in our collection. My hope is that I can get Sierra to join me for that top 10 and you guys can really get a look to see the differences in probably what our favorite games are in our collection. If you guys enjoyed this content, smash that like button and hit that notification bell. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on any of the games you've seen here today in the comments below. And as always, guys, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.